All right, it's been a while. In this video, we're gonna start with the water coolant crossover pipe on the top of the engine, work on some of those accessories, and then we'll keep moving. New O-rings, put these in.
Is a little bit of a big fit. They seem like they're slightly too big, but they do press.
All right, went ahead and put the crossover pipe and this other water pipe on with 2 bolts just to secure it so I could get these 2 inlet outlets lined up with each other. They're off kind of bad, so did want to get them a little bit closer. Let's go ahead and put some RTV on here. RTV is not required here.
I never said that. Just doing a little bit, kind of as a precaution. Yeah, I think I saw somewhere, read somewhere that they were getting some leaks every once in a while.
I just got a very thin layer kind of peaked up on this one. And do the same here. All right, should be a pretty thin layer on both of these. Not needed, but we're doing it. Brand new bolts. One, pulling them out. This is the part number. Water pipe mounts on this back one. Back here in the front screw there. So what I'm gonna do is just start with the other 2 to get it lined up. Okay, gonna try and just force this.
In here first. Beautiful. Go ahead and put the coolant back on. Nice. And I should be able to put these last 2 bolts in. Of course, it's not lined up. I think I went just a pinch too far over here. There we go. Yeah, I can see, I just see where the little groove is in the pipe. Indentation, it's not indentation, it's something else. Alright, we'll just snug these down.
All right, all 4 bolts in and hand tight. No movement in the water pipe or the water pipe. Just need to put this back there. All right, everything I could find online was 6.4 Newton meters. Couldn't find anything in the FSM I have as far as torque spec. I don't know if I was just looking in the wrong section or it doesn't show it or what, but I'm just gonna go ahead and torque these all down to 6.4. Go ahead and do the valve covers, something that I've been putting off. Just want to make sure everything in the rotating assembly was good, but I think we are all good. So let's start here with the right hand side. We already have the little half moons back in the heads here. I think the machine shop did that. So it does ask you to apply the liquid gasket to the actual head surface, not the valve cover gasket. Right side head, we're just going to start at this bolt here, go all the way around, inside and round right behind that bolt right there. So it shouldn't be too complicated. And of course it doesn't give you the torque down here, but if you look up at the exploded diagram, it says that the torque is 5 Newton meters. All right, I did just clean this up, wiped it down real good, used a little bit of brake clean, cleaned up the valve cover gasket as well. I'm gonna put a little dab right here on the seam of the half moon.
In the back, on both of those seams. Don't think it's gonna hurt anything. Just a little extra protection. And then I already have the rear timing covers on, so it's going to be a little difficult to sneak in here. Might just go ahead and do this. Basically just starting right here, going up, around, over, back around here, up here, around this cam, and then up to this.
This is my little sealant path over here. Back around this way, I could see where the old gasket had left like a little impression. The sealing surface of the gasket on the valve cover actually comes in here, around here, comes in a little deep, doesn't really come out to this side. Had to clean up a little bit there. And then over to the other side. Got the valve cover gasket in, the 2 plug coil gaskets in there as well. Gonna flip this over, make sure we didn't drop anything in there. Should be enough assembly lube on there, on the cams and everything. So we're just gonna try, you know what, I got 1 screw in here. Gaskets are good, gonna slide it in as far as I can before we lower it down, lower the back down first, then the front. And looks like we're right where we need to be.
Just bop them one more time. Beautiful.
All right, this is the left side head. Went ahead and just did these seams at the half moons on the back again. And then you just go straight across loop back up on those bolt holes. Double check to make sure there's no spare bolts in the motor there. Gonna go ahead and pop the cover on, torque it down to 5. Left side rocker cover has been installed. Got the O-rings in here. Got the liquid gasket on there. All torqued to 5 Newton meters. All right, was able to find the torques of the sensors in the fuel injection section of the FSM. Looks like T1 for the crankshaft and camshaft position sensors, 6.4 Newton meters. T2 for the knock sensor, 24 Newton meters. All right, crankshaft position sensor just slides right in. Index only one way with the bolt. And I'm gonna put a dot of, oops, I always put too much with it. 6.4 Newton meters. Here on the left side head for the camshaft position sensor, did get this one cleaned up a little bit. Man, it doesn't really feel like it fits as snug as it did in the other one. All right, maybe it was just dirty in the other one. It fits about the same. It only gets a couple of threads in this little bracket, so. Same torque as the crank sensor, 6.4 Newton meters. All right, got the crank sensor out of the old block, cleaned up a little bit. Got thread lock on the threads of the 12mm bolt. I think orientation just be the wire pointing back towards the bell housing back here. 24 Newton meters. All right, this last sensor is actually the oil pressure sensor, not a temp sensor. For some reason, I thought it was like a cylinder head temp sensor. But we got the oil pressure switch right here. Number one right here, T10. It does say to use some liquid gasket on the threads. 25 Newton meters. Just gonna put a little bit on the threads.
Towards the top. And it's 25 Newton meters. I think it said 24 when I looked at the FSM, but 25 Newton meters. I think this is a pipe thread, so it's a tapered thread, so it should seal on its own, but I think that little bit of RTV will help us out.
Let me make sure, is this bottom thing 25 and this top one something else? Let me just double check. Not find a definitive answer on the proper torque spec for the oil pressure sensor into the threaded nut right here. I think in the FSM, the 25 foot-pound or 25 Newton meters is for this nut into the case half. But as far as the sensor into this nut, not 100%. It is a tapered fit thread, so 25 seemed really high. On the internet, I did see some things that said somewhere around 12 foot-pounds, which is a little bit less. So I just put my torque wrench in foot-pounds and got it just up under 12 foot-pounds. Liquid gasket on there. I think the liquid gasket is actually meant for this nut against the case half, not really the tapered fit sensor into this nut. So we're gonna call that good. If it leaks, we can snug it down a little bit more or replace it. All right, in no particular order, what's next is the oil fill tube. We got torque T4 right there, 6.4 Newton meters. There's also a little star right here above the 31 for the O-ring. I tried to look, but I didn't see exactly what that meant. So let's just see if we can find the O-ring for it. Old O-ring just cracked right off. Couldn't even get it off, but I think I found the closest one. So I think this one's for it. Tried to clean up the oil fill neck a little bit. Looks better than it did. I did not see the bracket in the FSM or a torque spec for it. Put just a little bit of Loctite on these. Loctite on the front one. All right, Loctite on the little bracket bolt.
All right, 6.4. Start with the front one. And the back one. Just one more time to make sure. And a little bracket. We'll have it.
All right, gonna try and pop the dipstick tube and dipstick in. I did find this dipstick tube off a parts motor in the basement. It is a little bit cleaner. Doesn't have the rust on it. As far as I can tell, they're exactly the same. A little bit hard to compare because of the bend, but they're both off 2.0 motors, and this one's a little bit cleaner. So dipsticks are the same length as far as I can tell. Got 2 brand new O-rings, came in the kit. We'll put those on there. It's gonna be a little hard to see, but then we'll just sneak it in, so we can get it all seen. All right, not sure if we're gonna be able to see exactly what's going on here. Yeah, we can see pretty well. We're going in front of the 2 coolant pipes, and well, this was easier the first time I did it. Light was in the way. Slide it right in. So we just went, I don't know if you can tell, in front of those hard lines, and then I think down here, we are behind the soft rubber lines or whatever they are. So now all we gotta do is line that up in the oil pan, which I don't think is gonna be too bad.
All right, so we just wiggle it in. Looks like it's all in place. Looks like the O-rings are inside the little receiving end on the pan, and the bolt hole actually lines up, which is nice. Did put a little bit of lap tight on this screw. Same torque we've been doing, 6.4.
And we got a little bit cleaner dipstick. All right, gonna work on the power steering pump, swapping that over. It was missing a bolt. I'm pretty sure it was this one, but if we look right here, A509, what's that? 50833, right there. This is the part number, 800-508-330. That's what it looks like. That's what I got. Power steering pump uses this mounting location, this one, and this one back here for the new bolt that I got. And it is finger tight all the way down, bottomed out. And you can see there's still a lot of room in between where it would actually tighten against the bracket. And the bracket isn't really that thick. Well, we're just gonna put the pump on anyway, line it up. Long bolt goes in the hole closest to the center.
Short bolt goes in the hole on the outside. And we're just gonna thread this one in. We're just gonna actually gonna lap tight these just a little bit. Lap tight a little bit on it. Very close.
All right, gonna go ahead and at least mock up the alternator as well. Still don't know the torque specs for these, but we got these 3 bolts. There are some different sizes. This long one goes in the front here, short one in the middle, the other long one in the back.
Alternator's just removed with the bracket assembly. Got those 3 mounting points. It's got a little bit of, oh, okay. This is the adjustment for the belt, so I'm gonna take this out so you can slip it where it needs to be. I think it goes behind, yeah, right behind the power steering bracket. Loctite on the shorter one in the back. Can't really see what's going on back here. There's a short one in the middle. A little bit of Loctite on this long one going in the front underneath here. Some Loctite on this one. And we'll just put the adjustment screw back through the alternator.
All right, for the life of me, I cannot find the torque for the alternator bracket bolts and the power steering bracket bolts. I can't find them anywhere in the FSM, but these bolts, 12 millimeter or 14 millimeter bolts that held the idler pulleys on, I would assume that's a probably similar torque. Look down here, it's 39 newton meters. What I think I'm gonna do is just bump it down a little bit to 30, torque the alternator bolts down. Since the power steering bracket bolts are 12 millimeter, I'll probably bump that down a little bit more, maybe like 25 newton meters. I think that should be more than enough. Just want to be careful with the aluminum case halves. All right, got them all torqued down, marked them with orange. I've been marking everything with orange for the oil pressure sensor. Since I had no clue what I should torque that down, I did blue and white. I just added blue to these since I wasn't 100% sure on these torque specs. Right around 35 newton meters for the alternator bracket. I think I'm around 25 to 30 newton meters on these power steering pump bracket bolts.